We've made it to episode 556. So, if you're a first time listener to this podcast, kind of bring you up, this is the No Comfort Zone podcast. My name is Dan Brzezowski. I'm the host. I'm going to give you a quick snippet of what this podcast is going to be about today, and you'll kind of get the rest of it as we get into it. Today's is all about habits, make or break you. How discipline creates your destiny. And what's most important about this is why your daily decisions are quietly designing the life you'll either regret or be proud of. And I lived a lot of time in regret because I was blaming everything and everybody else for my bad habits. I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
Man, this is going to be a fun one because talking about the no comfort zone, it really is about habits. It's actually getting uncomfortable to break bad habits and getting uncomfortable to make new ones. A long time ago, read something somewhere at some place in my life, but never applied it until recently, I guess recently in the last, let's say 15, 20 years, where I learned that, let's just say it takes 21 days. Let's just believe that for a minute, if that's true, to form a habit, good or bad. But the most important part, it takes over 90 days. So I've been told, so I read, it must be true, 90 days to form a behavior. And I also recently read something, and I think it was from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I've talked about quite a bit on this program, where he mentions that 85% of what you do after like the age of 30, I'm misquoting all this, by the way, so don't hold me to it. It's my podcast, so I can say what I want, right? After 30, like 85% of what you do, you're on autopilot anyway. So you have to fight everything all the time if you want to make changes. From a spiritual point of view, from a habitual point of view, from a mindset point of view. That's why this is so difficult. That's why I do this podcast, because I know how hard it is. Out of 100 people that I know, let's use the 80-20 rule. 80% of the people out there are, let's say, not going to be in a place where they believe that their life is fulfilling, purposeful, successful. They might say that it is, but in their heart of hearts, they know it's not. Then there's going to be another 20% where they're going to be like, you know what, I'm totally dialed in. I love my life and I'm doing really well. But of the 20%, there might be maybe 3% of those people who actually are dialed in. They're living their life and they think this podcast might be a little nuts. Why would somebody need this? And I know people like there that think this podcast is, why do you spend your time doing this? Because I've talked to a few of the people in that 80% that know exactly what I'm talking about. They've gone through the adversity and now they're coming out of it and go, what do I do next? I know people that are right in the middle of it, in the middle of the seas crashing all around them. And they need a life preserver, man. How do I stop drinking? How do I stop gambling? How do I get my wife back? How do I not lose my job? How do I get shit back together again? And I get those calls too. And I guess some of the biggest ones is lately is, hey dude, I don't think I got a problem drinking, but I think I want to live a sober lifestyle. And when we dial into it and we start asking those questions, why is that? It's lack of fulfillment. Or fear of being average or actually being average. And there's nothing wrong with going to work and pounding it out and having an average income. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is how you feel about that. If you know that you have an opportunity to be better, if you know that your potential is greater than what you're showing, then by all means, maybe we got to look at your habits and what you're doing. Because if in your heart of hearts, you know you could be doing better, and in your mind, you know you should be in a better place, but yet you're getting pretty good results for where you're at, but they're not great, and you want greatness, You got to change some stuff. I had a phone call recently, a guy who's super happy with his career and where he's at, and he wants to make some changes in his relationship. This guy has gone from entry-level position all the way to being one of the leaderships. It's a super high leadership position within his organization, and he's made it, and he's super happy. But here's a guy who wants to reach for more information. You'll know who I'm talking about because I know you listen to the show. He wants to learn how to do line dancing so him and his wife can hang out and spend more time together because he likes to golf so much. So I think it's amazing that he's willing to get out of his comfort zone and go do country and Western line dancing. It's something that's so foreign to him because he's trying to get her to turn around and appreciate the facts that he likes to golf so much. And the fact is that he told me, he's like, man, maybe listening to this podcast is a little bit of him getting out of his comfort zone. And here's a guy who's successful. One of the most positive people you can meet, career-wise, elevated himself up on the food chain. He's got a great family. He's got wonderful kids, pretty much commands the universe to his reality. Life's going great for him, but he's getting out of his comfort zone to learn something else. So, in today's episode, your daily decisions quietly design the life that you'll either regret or you're going to be proud of. Man, does that stick with me. I lived in regret for so long, and now I can look back and be proud of it. I look back at those moments of regret, and I'm like, man, the lessons I learned. Man, I got to share them with somebody. I know, let's do a podcast. So that's why we're here today. And James Clear, if you don't know who that is, he wrote the book. It's super popular, Atomic Habits, New York Times bestseller. So here's the idea behind this. In his book, he talks about a very clear philosophy, and it's built around small daily choices that create either excellence or decay over time. And it's a super practical habits book that you need to check out. And one of my favorite parts about this book, and I might have quoted it recently, and if you did, just bear with me again, here it goes. You don't need to rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Think about that. That's pretty awesome. Bad habits don't wreck your life in one day. They erode potential silently over time. Think about over time. A bad habit doing one thing one time, it's just over and over and over again. Those are the habits. Good habits don't change overnight either. But with consistency, they redefine your identity, as I talked about in the last show. You're not ready for success yet based on who you are today. You have to work up to the person that attracts that level of success. And it's going to be through habits. You're going to have to be consistent, and you're going to have to redefine who you are. And it's like to think of like a stonemason. You crack that, you hit the hammer, you're working on those habits, nothing's happening. Then finally that one strike, boom, part of the stone comes off. And you keep doing that. And then finally, if you want to see something cool, go on YouTube and check out a stonemason when they work on their piece of art. It's absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Go check it out. And it's kind of how our lives are, but it's going to take consistency, and it's going to take a lot of it. In his book, he also talks about the 1% better philosophy, like Kaizen. I worked for Honda for quite a long time, and in the Japanese manufacturing, it's just, basically get 1% better every day. What can you do to get 1% better every day? And how it aligns with the no comfort zone? Small, consistent discomfort leads to exponential growth. I'm attracted to people like the Atomic Habits book, like Goggins, like Tony Robbins, because they show me ways to get out of my comfort zone. I take that information, I do a little bit of research, I throw together a podcast, and I share it with you because I am desperately trying to help you, show you. Instead of just talking about feel-good, motivation, inspirational stuff, I'm trying to show you when you get out of your comfort zone, your life gets better. From being in my car, living in there, to literally this afternoon, going out, walking my backyard, looking at the trees that I get to prune when that's time to do that, looking at the opportunities I have to do some landscaping. I mean, my backyard, I absolutely love it. It's absolutely amazing. It's a Jurassic Park. It's a beautiful piece of property. I'm going to my pond. I'm checking on I think I've got 18 little koi fish now, 2 really big ones. It's a cool little pond I have there. They survived the winter in the Midwest. Checking out my fire pit, from a guy that used to live in his car going through major emotional issues, alcoholism, being completely massively in debt to the level of extent you just couldn't believe, completely bankrupt because there's no way I was going to be able to pay that off, to slowly and surely getting my step, 1 week at a time, to getting to a point where this is my life. Did I really go from where I was at to where I am now? It's unbelievable, but it comes down to the habits that I chose. Breaking old habits. What did I have to give up? Alcohol, time management, certain things that I had to get time management in my life. I had to get certain things, people out of my life. That was the hardest one. Just getting away from negative people, getting away from people that like to abuse drugs and alcohol, getting away from people that thought drugs and alcohol were okay, getting away from people that are on psychotropic drugs that follow that as a crutch. I can't be around it. That's just me. That's how I'm wired. If you're negative, I can't be around you. If you want to live in the solution, we're good to go. You want to live in the problem, chaos and drama, I can't do it. These are things that have helped me to become successful and, quite frankly, more peaceful. And as I'm doing this podcast and I'm learning more about different opportunities, about people who have found success and people who talk about success, people that have overcome adversity, another book comes to mind, The Power of One by Ed Mylett. He's also on the New York Times bestseller list. And what he brings to the table is he's very raw, very real. He's a modern voice of habits and consistent effort, but the power behind it. He resonates with a lot of people, and I'm starting to see him speak a little bit more out there. Here's a really good quote from him, and maybe this will resonate with you too, depending on where you're at in your life. But I think it's relevant to me at certain stages where I've been. Let me tell me what you think. You are always one more decision, one more habit, one more rep away from changing your life. You're always one more decision, one more habit, one more rep away from changing your life. The reps in life, I'm working out this morning, and I'm doing this thing where I do like 100 squats, and I do 25 at a time, and I incorporate my shoulders to it, just kind of letting you in behind the curtain a little bit. Well, it's not the first 10 that hurt. It's the last 5 that count. And those are the ones that are the no comfort zone. It's that one more rep. Can I push myself? Can I mentally get past it? What's going to beat me, my body or my mind? That's why I'm doing it now. I'm pushing myself to a different level because my body composition isn't where I want it to be at. And, if you just do one more thing consistently, not a whole bunch all at once, just one more consistent step at a time, you're in line with forming a successful habit. See, you can either build momentum or you can slowly deteriorate. There's no neutral. Every day is a vote in whichever direction you want to go. So you want to fall back into your bad habits? Go ahead. You want to actually do the next right thing? The next right thing will happen. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take a commitment. Prepare yourself the night before and what your intentions are. Then take action on those intentions. And when you fail, don't fail twice. Make a change right away. You plan on getting up at 5 a.m.? I used to do this all the time. 5 a.m., I didn't wake up. Shit, now it's 6:30. It's a reality check. I'm an hour and a half late for my life. What are you going to do now? Man, now it's time to get up. Now it's time to certainly start doing something that's going to impact you positively. What was the next thing on your intentions? Go drink 2 glasses of water. Now you're successful. Make sure you show up on time for the shower. Make sure you show up on time for the treadmill. Make sure you get your stretching in. Whatever you can do. Get yourself to a positive mental mind frame. Start developing the necessary skills with time management so you can incorporate, so you can have a proactive day. See, your habits, they're all automated. It's a version of your mindset. It's a version of your identity and the discipline of who you are. So let me ask you this question. Are your current habits, are they pulling you towards your purpose, or are they pushing you into a passive existence where you're going nowhere with no one? You're going to be all alone, I'm telling you that. What invisible bad habits are slowly lowering your standards? This is the awareness, folks. Take a minute, take some time to write down these things. Stop what you're doing, Write this down. What are the invisible habits that are slowly lowering your standards? If your standards are up here at 8, 9, 10, you got to ask yourself a question. What's bringing you down to the 4, 5, 6? This goes down to the gap analysis as we talk about the cash system. What simple daily habit, if you mastered it, could change your trajectory? I'm telling you, mine's time management. I'm just being honest with you. Time management. There's so much I want to get done. Remember, I got a bunch of books coming out at the end of the month, and they're not done, but they'll be ready. But my time management, got to get up a little bit earlier, got to stay up a little bit later. I got to really focus on the editing part. They're almost done, but they're not edited all the way. And if you choose not to do something, that's a habit. Quit trying to be perfect. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Inactivity, easy for me to say again, no editing. Inactivity equals a slow death. Do something. Make your mistakes. Fail. Learn from it. Move on. Ready, shoot, aim. Such a great analogy. Here's something I want to discuss. You've got inaction, comfort addiction, and routine mediocrity. They all go hand in hand. When you have to show up in court for divorce proceedings and child support, and you don't show up once, you don't show up twice, you don't show up 3 times because you're comfort addiction. I'd rather not deal with that situation. I'm not going to take any action. Your attorney fires you. You pissed off the court. They make judgments. Now, when you do show up in court, they're mad at you. They scold you. Now you're accountable. Then when you wind up in rehab, they don't care. They're done. They've given you chances. Now you're in a really bad situation. You're in knee deep in shit. So what do you do now? You got to live with the consequences. Now you got to deal with the drama and the chaos because of what you did. Not what the court did, not because of the failed relationship. You've got to deal with it. That was a reality that I faced. Now you take 10 other situations in your life because I was comfort addiction, didn't want to take any action, and I was in this routine of mediocrity where I'll figure it out later, do it later. The IRS doesn't play. The court doesn't play. Your mortgage lender doesn't play. Your employer doesn't play. Your friends don't play if they're real friends. My reality check hit me hard. And now what ends up happening is this: regret, depression, loss of identity, waste time, suicide attempt, because I'm was a coward. I didn't need that. Coma, inability to walk, inability to talk, as I'm doing it right now in this. So, let's go back to a David Goggins quote. Most people are addicted to comfort. Jocko Willink, I think they both worked together at one time. Check out his podcast, absolutely amazing. In his book, Extreme Ownership, his quote is, "Discipline is your path to freedom. Laziness is the path to regret." And I could totally dive into that one 100%. So here's what I want to share with you. Here's a massive action part of the blueprint. And here's what I want to share with you. Here's a 7-day habit reset challenge to you, the listener. You don't have to get the blueprint. You don't have to hit me up or anything. Just check it out. But if you need more information, I'm Dan at the No Comfort Zone, Dan at thenocomfortzone.com. I want you to wake up earlier, half an hour earlier. Hydrate immediately. Drink 2 glasses of water. Stretch. Stretch. Touch your toes. Stretch to the ceiling. Stretch. 10 minutes of movement, whatever that is. Walking, jumping jacks, something. 10 minutes of reading. 10 minutes of journaling. 1 uncomfortable action. This is a no comfort zone push. What's uncomfortable for you to do? Whatever that is. Man, for me, it was just waking up early. But for you, it's got to be something. Show me what you're going to do. DM me, Facebook me, wherever you can get in contact with me. Let me know you're doing it. Hashtag the No Comfort Zone podcast. Here's a great quote by Warren Buffett. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. Super huge. So this week, identify 1 toxic habit that's costing you more than you realize. The 1 powerful habit you've been avoiding Replace the first, start the second. Let's break your lifestyle before it breaks you. All right? I hope you can do that. I would really appreciate if you can share this episode with somebody who's slipping into self-destruction. This message might just be their wake-up call. I mean, I'm here to help as many people as I can, but you're worthy. You're worthwhile. I hope this Habits podcast helped you so much that you can give me a nice rating or review, share it with somebody else. But until then, I want you to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.